Hi everybody, we're back. Join me, your old pal Ashley, as I continue to inexplicably watch every Oscar-nominated cartoon and pick which one I think should have won. We're here at the 7th Annual Academy Awards ceremony, looking back at 1934, where nothing bad happened. Don't you worry about it, it was a great year. Maybe one of the best, so let's just keep on keeping on and distract ourselves with coffee, donuts, and cartoons. As is tradition, we begin with the winner, which unfortunately, as is tradition, is of course a Disney cartoon. The Tortoise and the Hare from 1935. If you're looking for a really fun animated telling of this classic tale, I recommend Tortoise Beats Hare by Warner Brothers, or any of the other 2 times Bugs faced Cecil the Turtle. Unfortunately today though, we're stuck watching the Disney one. Here we go. The cartoon begins and we have a classic establishing shot and lots of characters. I'm already bored. I'm so bored. But please, don't click off the video. I swear, things will pick up. I'll make some jokes. We meet our stars Max Hare, who despite being just the worst, gets a hero's welcome. Other than just being a smug little SOB, he happens to rhyme everything he says. Total heel. Next we see Toby Tortoise, who is instantly mocked and laughed at for being a big slow idiot. Ha! The idiot. Max, very humbly, promises not to trounce the turtle too bad, which the Topster appreciates. Yeah, just in case it wasn't clear, we're meant to dislike this cocky little rabbit. He bullies our poor turtle friend like Biff Tannen bullies George McFly. Hello? Think, Toby, think! The race begins and Toby needs 3 bullets in the ass to get him moving. Maxie does possibly the most obnoxious thing anyone can do. He smiles and winks at us, the audience, as he's about to be a real arsehole. He pretends to sleep to let the turtle pass him by, only to run ahead of him again. This guy, I officially hate him. Throughout the short we get safe, clean cartoon gags of the race. Nothing particularly memorable. The gags with the turtle's head and neck got a solid internal chuckle at least, so that's something. And who knows, maybe it comes back into play at the end. Ooh, interesting. One very good aspect is the animation, particularly on the turtle's little run, which is actually very cute. The only other gag that I really liked were the snails hopping along with our hero. The cartoon has some very cute bits like this, maybe too cute, and they do make you root for our little turtle pal. The poor dolt. In general though, this cartoon, it's a little bit bland, but I feel if you took these plots and these jokes and give them to someone, I don't know, maybe Tex Avery, he could have really pushed and exaggerated them into something special. Oh wait, he kinda did, but you know what I mean. This particular cartoon, he really could have molded into something good. I think where Avery could have really pushed and expanded this particular cartoon is in our next scene. Maxie, running past our turtle pal again, is distracted by 4 rabbits of questionable age. Distracted, he decides to stop running for a while and show off. If this was made by Tex, you just know these would be 4 Lola Bunny Space Jam-esque sex pots, and Max would be having some very wolfy reactions. Here it's just so dull. Even Tom and Jerry knew how to make scenes like this funny. I am being too harsh. I know, I'm being too harsh. It's an old cartoon. Much older than all these examples, so for what it is, it's fine and dandy. The turtle jogs past as Maxie continues to show off, culminating in him playing tennis against himself. We see Toby is about to cross the finish line, so Maxie gets serious. The Topster also pushes himself, and in all fairness, the last part is a bit tense. Toby manages to win by stretching his neck, which I guess pays off all those gags with it throughout the cartoon. Nice. The ending could have been a bit better, maybe some emotion other than smiling. Maxie is never worried. I think if he showed a bit of panic here, it would have really upped the ante just a little bit more. The cartoon ends with Toby being celebrated by all of his bullies from the beginning of the cartoon. The lesson here, it seems, is that if you don't want to be bullied, then just don't be a loser. Something I wish I had known as a child. I always go into these Disney cartoons expecting and honestly wanting to hate them, but they always kind of win me over. It's still mostly boring, but the turtle man, he just makes you want to cheer for him. The animation is also just so fantastic throughout, but the Toby animation is in another league. I genuinely hate drawing turtles, it's so hard. And the level of quality here with his stretching and squashing, contrasted with the rigidness of his shell, is so much fun. I would be amiss if I didn't mention the facetious rumor that Bugs Bunny is a ripoff of Max Hare. While I think rip-off is a harsh phrasal verb, I think it would be naive to think they didn't have some influence from the Disney Rabbit, particularly with some of the earlier Happy Rabbit designs. Bugs does continue to develop, and his final look is far better than that old Maxi look. Their personalities are also completely different. Bugs has one. Okay, Maxi has one too, but it's very one-dimensional, and like every other cartoon baddie at the time. Cocky, vain, and arrogant. Basically me. The characters would return in a sequel, Toby Tortoise Returns, in 1936. This time the characters face off in some classic fisticuffs. I don't know if it is a better cartoon, but it is a lot more fun and weirder, so yeah, it's better. We get a lot of cameos, such as the 3 pigs and the big bad wolf. And look, Goofy and Donald Duck in the crowd. The best character though is Jenny Wren, a fun parody of that temptress Mae West. I say parody because it's a cartoon bird, but really, it's just Mae West.
I like a man that takes his time.
You do?
Haven't you ever met a man that can make you happy?
Sure. Lots of times.
The cartoon has an explosive end with Maxi's plan to finish off the turtle backfiring on him. He was trying to impress those little jailbait bunnies again, and it cost him dearly. I'm sure that is the last we will ever see of those characters. Okay, that's enough Disney talk. The next 2 cartoons I think are a lot more interesting, though not technically as impressive as the Disney short. Let's begin with Holidayland, produced by Charles Minty Mintz, most famous for being the man who screwed over Walt Disney and stole Oswald, the lucky rabbit. In Charlie's defense, Walt was a bastard too. You have to be a bastard to be successful. It's the only explanation for why I'm such a failure. Well, enough lamenting my wasted life, let's get on with the cartoon. Hey look, it's Art Davis. He would go on to be a director of many Looney Tunes shorts. None of the really good famous ones, but he had a few gems. My first thought watching this was, oh god, that music. My second thought was, that little circle transition effect was neat. And my third and final thought was, the background art is super cool. Well, there you go. The color palette is limited. Disney probably still had the rights to the full color 3-strip Technicolor process, but it is pretty striking visually. We have those classic old cartoon slow background transitions before we finally get to our star, Scrappy, who is a real sleepyhead. His mom is nagging him to wake up for school. Moms. The art style is really interesting, and Scrappy reminds me a lot of other things, but I'll leave that for later. What I will say now though is his design has one major flaw: those hideous hands with fingernails. What is it with these old cartoons just having the fattest fingers as well? They should lose some weight.
Jason, you have fat fingers.
I know, Melissa. Thanks.
I just noticed.
Thanks for pointing it out.
They're really fat fingers.
Melissa, I heard you the first time.
I'm sorry, I just can't get over it.
Well, you try losing weight in just your fingers. It's not easy.
We hear Scrappy talk in a weird pervert voice. He wishes every day could be a holiday, and we see some wind blowing in through the window. It does some weird stuff to his calendar, blowing off all the pages and causing a creepy old man to pop out of New Year's. No idea who he's meant to be. Is there a New Year's mascot I am unaware of? We see other little mascots jump out of the other holidays, including some little white bunnies. Is this a crossover with the previous Disney cartoon? Maybe the Minter is up to his old tricks and stealing some more Disney rabbits. Suspicious. I like the little fat bunny at the end. That's good stuff. The next bit of the cartoon is a bit boring. Okay, it's very boring. It becomes a classic song and dance cartoon, a little similar to those Looney Tunes books and billboards come to life shorts, but again, like in the first cartoon, not as good. There are some striking visuals throughout, particularly this shot of the babies on the assembly line. Some of the art in this cartoon feels very ahead of its time. Would you look at that? It's time for more cartoon comparison. This cartoon reminds me of the Looney Tunes short Page Miss Glory, which used a real contemporary Art Deco design and only came out 2 years after this short. Maybe a reach, but I feel there are some similarities. The New Year's man brings Scrappy to watch little plays of each holiday, leading to all of those holidays joining the Thanksgiving table. The New Year's man's voice turns into Scrappy's mother, calling for him, and he wakes up. He quickly jumps out of bed and gets ready in a hurry and runs out of the door before running back in again to jump back into bed. A very cute little gag. I feel that's the word for these cartoons. They were all very cute, if you like that sort of thing. Okay, let's play Who Did Scrappy Inspire? My initial thoughts looking at this cartoon design with the simple body shapes, cold button eyes and big head was that it was very earthbound, particularly the main character. You could argue that the Scrappy look is rather broad and just an in-between phase between the silent cartoon look and modern cartoons. That Earthbound could have been inspired by any of them, and even from other art styles such as the UPS Studio style and Rankin Bass claymation. Okay, fair enough. You know me though, always trying to find connections. It's what I do, so I'll let this one go, but there is something else that is very, a little bit similar. Watch this sequence and think carefully. Who does it remind you of? It's Astro Boy, right? Am I crazy? It's not one-to-one, sure, but Osamu Tezuka is well known to have been inspired by Disney cartoons, and if he saw those, he likely saw some other cartoons too, particularly the Scrappy ones. On the website Scrappyland, the curator has different posts about the connection, and speculates the same, just like old Ashley. One of his posts shows a model sheet apparently by Osamu Tezuka himself that has all of his favorite cartoon stars, including possibly our old pal, Scrappy. Even the great masters like Tezuka have their inspirations. Okay, final cartoon. Hopefully this one doesn't begin with a song. Of a bitch. Jolly Little Elves, produced by Walter Lantz, is a telling of the classic story of the elves and the shoemaker. We see the old cobbler and his wife being terrible at making shoes. They are so bad they are out of money. Money is what we used to use before Bitcoin and begging for food. Their hard luck means they have nothing to eat but a stale donut. The couple see this creepy elf tapping on their window who is asking to come in and if they could spare a dime. The couple say that they have nothing but their donut but still offer it to share. So you're wondering, okay, here he goes. What did this cartoon vaguely inspire? Well, since you are curious, I will tell you. Have you ever heard of Dunkin Donuts?
Dunk, dunk, dunk. Oh, how I'd love to dunk donuts. Dunk, dunk, dunk. If I can't dunk, I will go nuts.
Dunkin Donuts claims it got its name from the concept of dunking donuts into coffee, which was a popular practice in the 1950s when the brand was founded. The company was originally called Open Kettle when it was started by William Rosenberg in 1948. An executive in the office said he had noticed people like to dunk their donuts in coffee, and that is what inspired the name. Okay, sure buddy, but here we can see in 1934 an Oscar-nominated cartoon singing about Dunkin Donuts in coffee.
Suspicious.
The practice of dunking was clearly popular for a long time in America, with coffee and donuts being both relatively cheap treats. But I'm just asking some questions here. There may be some inspiration going on, and maybe it is an interesting coincidence. My bet is honestly, yeah, it was just a common thing, and any connection to this cartoon is subconscious at best. Anyways, enough donut talk, let's get back to the cartoon. The creepy little elf thanks his new friends and proceeds to jump crotch first into the camera and then out of the window. The elf returns later that night with his friends and after an initial Three Stooges reference gets to work on making shoes, and thankfully they are a lot more competent than Moe, Larry and Curly. Though there is still some occasional boobery. What they are doing is nice and all, but this free elf labor is going to put a lot of good people out of work. And then they won't be able to afford their coffees or donuts for Dunkin'. They clearly don't understand capitalism, those dirty little commie gremlins. We have a montage of them making the shoes, including a very sexy pair of heels. Ooh, matron. One weird little freak can't get his act together though. He doesn't even look like an elf. More Gollum crossed with Rudolph. They need to get that chowderhead out of there. We also get some questionable elf designs, clearly mocking some people. The makers must have watched the original Three Little Pigs and been inspired. We see the creepy elf from the beginning, peeking at the old couple in the bed, the little pervert. When they finally wake up, the song in the background tells us they have the best shoes in the country, and though it's not said, it's heavily implied they will soon put all of their competition out of business. Their shoes become so popular, even the bootylicious queen comes by and buys 12 pairs, clearly setting the fashion trend. We see the couple dancing and flaunting the wealth they didn't earn but are happy to spend. The ending basically copies The Last Laugh from 1924, with the couple throwing their inexplicable money around willy-nilly. The old man even burns a $1,000 bill to light a cigar. A $1,000 bill! In 1935, that was a hell of a lot of beans, if you don't mind me talking about beans. This cartoon does prove, however, that trickle-down economics work, as we see the cobblers share the wealth, sort of. He gives them coffee and donuts, which we have already established are cheap as chips. Stupid elves don't even realize they are being exploited, the little idiots. The cartoon ends with the elf sweatshop workers singing about Dunkin Donuts. A chilling end to a chilling tale. Here we are, at the end, and I'll be honest, I put this episode off for a while because I did not want to watch any of these cartoons, but it turned out they were all rather interesting in their own ways. So I have to pick my winner, and I don't want to pick Disney, but it's Disney. Those jerks did it again. I really wanted to give it to one of the others, but those little interesting tidbits, that's all in hindsight. That wasn't relevant back in the day. Overall, the Disney short is just the better package and has some really amazing animation. So the Disney cartoon is better and it gets the Ashley. Well, that covers the 7th Academy Awards. Until next time, I'm off to dunk some donuts.
Dunk.